Welcome back. I hope you're doing great. As a part of this video, we'll understand what are the categories in software requirements. In our previous video, we understood what are the different user expectations from a software. We understood software should be reliable, it should be compatible, usable, efficient, installable, and attractive. These user expectations can be classified into either non-functional requirement or functional requirement. When we are talking about a requirement here, what kind of a requirement we are talking about? We are developing a software. So obviously it is a software functional requirement. It is a non-functional requirement related to the software, right? Then what is a software requirement? Software requirements specify what features a product should include and how all those features should work together. That is what is specified by a software requirement. With the software requirement, we can define the test criteria, which is very vital for the verification and validation of a software. So these software requirements will help to design a software, build a software, and test the process, service, and product or a system. That is a software requirement. Coming back to our requirement, we have non-functional software requirements and we have functional requirements. What exactly is a functional requirement? Requirements which specify what the system should do, what the application should do. That is a functional requirement. As a part of the functional requirements, we define and describe what and all functions need to be performed by an application or a system and what features should be there as a part of the software product which is being developed. Functional requirements are in a way define what is necessary for functioning of a system. It also specify what should be the input, what should be the processing, and what should be the output. All these things are specified as a part of the functional requirements. Let us take an example here. Let us say you have a login page. A login page is there everywhere now, right? Whether you are logging into e-commerce website, whether you are logging into Facebook or a LinkedIn or a email. So if you have to develop this particular page, then we have to specify as a part of the functional requirement, user should be able to log into the system using their username and password. That will be the functional requirement because that is a functionality. Before we really get into an application, get into a system, you need to log in, right? So this is the login functionality which can be considered as a functional requirement. Then what exactly is a non-functional requirement? We understood functional requirements are very much necessary for the functionality of an application. On the other hand, non-functional requirement specify how the system should perform a certain function. Functional requirements would tell you what functionality and how it should be performed can be specified as a part of the non-functional requirements. So in a way, these non-functional requirements would evaluate the behavior of a software application and they specify what are the constraints on a system services. It can be a performance, it can be a security, it can be accessibility. They do define the attributes of the system as a system performs its job. It is subjective in nature, depending upon the domain. A retail domain may have a different non-functional requirements. At the same time, airlines may have a different non-functional requirements. So it is subjective in nature and it's difficult to conclusively test, but we have to include the non-functional testing as well. So in real-time systems, non-functional requirements are also as important as functional requirements. Let us take an example here. Let us say you have developed a web page. Non-functional requirements specify each page must load within 2 seconds. Loading a page is a functional requirement, but specifying that it should load in 2 seconds is a non-functional requirement. Then one more non-functional requirement would be the website should be able to process each request within 4 seconds. That is also one of the non-functional requirement. Awesome. We understood what is non-functional requirement, what is functional requirement. Let us wrap up this video by knowing the differences between functional requirement and non-functional requirement. Functional requirements helps to verify the functionality of a software. On the other hand, non-functional requirements helps to verify the performance of the software. Functional requirements are very much mandatory. Otherwise, how would the system work, right? On the other hand, non-functional requirements may not be mandatory in all the cases. Functional requirements describes what the product is doing. On the other hand, non-functional requirements says how the product should perform. Functional requirements are very much based on the user expectation. They're easy to define. On the other hand, non-functional requirements like performance, load, security, they're difficult to define as compared to the functional requirements. The functional requirement defines the system or component. Non-functional requirement define the quality attribute of a software system. If you had to take an example, a system has to shut down in case of a cyber attack. That is the functionality. On the other hand, processing of each request should be done within 10 seconds is a non-functional requirement. Awesome. We understood functional requirements and non-functional requirements as a part of this video. Thank you.